So today we're going to be reviewing the direct response funnel, guys. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Sean. I specialize in scaling yacht charter companies from 0 to 100K a month by using a plug and play growth system that I've developed in-house, right? I started off as a broker in the luxury niche, started brokering cars, eventually built up my car rental fleet, started brokering yachts, and then now specifically delivering solutions to yacht charter companies to help them scale to 6 figures, right? So let's get right into it. The direct response funnel is an emotional conversion funnel, right? The way that you need to view your brand and your profile online is like a sales page. Whenever you optimize your brand properly for the right conversions on your sales page, it allows you to have quicker conversion, faster conversion, and allows you to optimize your social media profile as a nurturing and conversion asset that we use to deliver and close deals on autopilot, right? So top of funnel, right? This is where we're at. Top of funnel. Usually we average $9 cost per result with this exact funnel through meta advertising, right? So $9 cost per result, and that means every single time that you pay $9, you're getting a lead inbound that's asking for a yacht, asking for a date, they're inquiring, they're saying, hey, I want to book a yacht, right? The whole idea is that we get this person that's coming in to pay as fast as possible. As a business owner, you understand that it's about the conversion. And this is exactly what we get into next. The conversion, it needs to be systemized, because the only way that you can have predictability in your business is if you have a systemized nurturing and conversion system that allows the leads to be converted and nurtured seamlessly, right? This is how you get faster close rates and faster closing speeds, right? With this exact funnel, we average around three days closing time with this exact funnel. As soon as you have these inbound leads come in and hit your page, you need to hit them with 3 main pillars. Right? I call this the triad of emotional conversion, right? We're gonna get more into the triad of emotional conversion here, but right now we're gonna basically review it briefly. So that requires information, emotion, and urgency, right? In order for you to deliver the right sort of conversion for your prospects and clients that are coming in to book a yacht, you need access to the right stimulation, right? So that stimulation is the information, the emotion, and the urgency, right? Once you prompt them in and optimize your profile properly for this sort of stimulation, and you give them the right stimulation that they need, it makes the booking seamless, and it makes the your nurturing and conversion sequences happen a lot smoother, right? So there are 2 main optimizations that we prompt for when it comes to this sort of funnel, right? We prompt for follow, and we prompt for DM. Both of these optimizations are prompting for conversion just on different time frames, right? So what you need to view it as is you need to view this DM. The DM prompt is going to be a lot quicker conversion, right? Because you have a lot more people coming in to book a yacht. They want a yacht quick. They want their information quickly, and they're more likely to convert on a quicker time frame, right? People that prompt for follow, these people are going to be prompting for conversion, but it's going to be a longer time frame because they need a longer time period to be nurtured, to have the right information, and to have the right trust, right? Maybe they take a little bit longer to convert, and that's okay. This is why we optimize for both. When we prompt for DM, right, it's super important that we have the right scripts, the right conversion assets, right, the right information. Because what this does is this allows the clients to pay on a quicker timeline, right? The whole idea is that you get your client from cold to close as quick as possible. Whenever they prompt for follow, we need nurturing assets set in place that gives them the trust that you need, the information that they need, and the urgency that they need in order for them to take action. What you need to understand is it needs to be a low commitment for the prospect in order for them to capitalize in a timely fashion, right? When you optimize this properly, you optimize your sales process to 15% close rate, 15 to 20% close rate, right? With 3-day closing times. Super important that you have this part optimized, because if you don't have your process optimized, what happens is that this close rate will shoot down, right? You're gonna have less closings, you're gonna have less bookings, right? Because they don't have the right information that they need in order to justify their emotional decision. Jumping into the sales page, right? This is exactly how we optimize your online presence for the right conversion sequences. It's no longer about follower count. It's no longer about trends. It's no longer about these things. What it's about is about the money in. And if you can understand and shift your mind to understand that it's about the conversion, you optimize everything for the conversion. There are 2 different types of assets that you really want to be prioritizing, right? We have conversion assets and we have nurturing assets, okay? Both of these assets serve for the conversion just on different time periods, and they serve in a different way, right? But both support each other, so it's important that you have both set in place. Okay? Everything from the bio to the content to the highlights requires these sort of assets, so it's important that you optimize your brand properly for these sort of assets, right? We've tested hundreds of landing pages and different variations, and this is what we've noticed works really, really well, is by having a conversion asset line in your bio, and then having 2 nurturing assets, and then having another conversion asset, right? So what that does is you basically have a conversion line that is optimized for conversion, and then you have 2 nurturing that provide more trust, more credibility, right? And then on the bottom, you have another conversion asset. So what this does is that people know where to contact you. People know who you are through these 2 lines and what you do, more trust, more credibility. And you hit them back with the CTA, which prompts them back into the top of the funnel, top of the line, right? Next, we get into the highlights, right? The highlights are super important to optimize for your nurturing assets. Because as soon as people know who you are, what you do, where to contact you, they need to be nurtured a little bit more. The whole idea is that you have touch points with your clients, with your prospects. If you do not have enough touch points with your prospects, then it's very hard for the prospects to make a decision to pay you. So this eliminates the barrier to entry for prospects that are thinking if they would pay you or not, because your highlights are set in place in a way where it provides max credibility. This is where we jump into the pin posts, guys. The pin posts are super important to have very dense conversion assets, right? Your conversion assets need to be optimized so well that they should basically explain what your brand is, what your product is, everything about your product, and everything about your process in that specific conversion asset. Because these conversion assets are going to be used in the sales process and as well as in the longer conversion process, right? This is how you set it up. 3 pin posts, conversion assets, right? And then we optimize the rest of your profile properly for the nurturing assets. The nurturing assets serve to teach people more about your product, teach people more about your solution, and ultimately show what your product is, how it works, your process, and how to basically allow them to purchase your product, right? So specifically with yacht charters, it's super important because this needs to be optimized not only with these proper assets, but all these assets need to have the right information, emotion, and urgency, right? And we have a system in place that basically allows us to optimize your assets properly with the right balance of information, emotion, and urgency to have this sort of conversion, right? So conversion assets specifically, these are optimized for conversion, right? Very simple. You have the right information, duration, price, instructions, right? Inclusions. You have the right emotion tied in, the right urgency. This should give them a full overview of your product, and they should be very, very professional. Now, jumping into the nurturing assets, guys. The nurturing assets are going to be a little less dense, but they are just as impactful as the conversion assets. If you have conversion assets with no nurturing assets, you don't have conversion, and vice versa, right? So nurturing assets, this is where you're going to deliver emotion, experience, information, process, lifestyle, right? This is where you explain the product a little bit better and you give them a better idea of what their product looks like, how your process works, how the process will work specifically for your prospect, right? The whole idea is that you optimize your brand and your funnel and your sequence for quick conversion, right? And this is where we get into next. Every time a lead hits your page, they are completely cold. They don't know who you are, they don't know what you do, and they don't know what price point, they don't know where the boat leaves from, they don't know any of these things, right? Your job is to have a sequence that gets them all the way to closed in less than 3 days, right? So with that in mind, you need to be thinking about the right sequences for the sales process specifically that needs to happen in order to get them to pay you money. They have to like your brand, they have to trust your brand, they have to respect your brand, and they have to have a deep desire for your brand. This is where we go back into the traffic promotion conversion, right? So what we do is we hit them specifically with a conversion asset. This is the difference. This is the conversion asset. Everything in red is conversion asset, and the green are nurturing assets. So in the sales journey, they're going to be hit with direct conversion asset first, right? And then they're going to hit them with 3 nurturing assets. And these nurturing assets are going to be on the profile. This is where they hit. It's all about touch points, right? These touch points allow them to understand your product better for them to justify quicker. Okay? Once they get this touch point, they're going to be hit with the direct conversion asset again. Okay? This is going to make it hyper clear because you've already made it super, super clear. Then you provide the nurturing assets to nurture them a little bit further, and then you hit them again with another conversion asset, and that conversion asset basically solidifies the deal. Everything from this point on is practically closed. But these are basically the nail in the coffin, right? This is the nail in the coffin, right? Most people think that it can just be one conversion asset and that's it. And this is exactly why they're not doing 6 figures a month, right? Because they don't have enough information, they don't have an ecosystem for the conversion specifically. The more intentional that you can get with your processes in general, the more money that you will make, the faster you will scale, the quicker close times you will have, and the higher close rate you will have. This whole process builds enough credibility and trust for them to send the money, right? This is the exact conversion that we optimize for, right? What do we have? We have leads, which is also traffic, right? Leads / traffic plus conversion assets plus nurturing assets equals cash, right? Super important, and faster close times. This is how we get faster close times. This is how we optimize properly for speed. Guys, you're never gonna be able to scale your brand if you do not optimize for speed, right? Especially during the busy seasons, especially. So now that you have a good understanding of the basic principles of this funnel, we're gonna get deeper into the exact sequences necessary for the triad of emotional conversion, right? So information, emotion, and urgency, right? What are some good examples of information that you communicate your value to market for your prospect, for your ICP? We have information like duration, time slots, add-ons, price, right? For emotion, we need to deliver the right visuals, the right music, the right vibe. This is for your ICP. If you're not specifically designing this around your ICP, this conversion will not work because the people that you're drawing into your brand will not convert because you're not converting them properly with the right information, emotion, and urgency. The information, emotion, and urgency are all relative to the ideal client profile that you're delivering to. Urgency, time slots, duration, again, limited availability, discounts, right? The whole idea is that you optimize your brand properly for the right ICP to deliver this properly, right? Most people don't have the right market communication because they're very unintentional and they're very lazy with how they communicate to their audience and to the people that follow their brand specifically. Once your brand is properly optimized, it allows you to capitalize on speed and collect cash quickly. By developing the right creatives and advertisements around your ICP and around your info, emotion, and urgency, it allows you to speak directly to the heart of the person that you're trying to attract, right? The more specific that you can be with this, the better. Because people don't want a brand that speaks to everybody. They want to be a part of something special, right? And what your job is to deliver that speciality. If you guys have any more questions or need some more insights, guys, feel free to click the link in the description and book a call with me below.